When that threat response stays on for too long, no bueno for health. Okay, why do we need to know this as teachers? Because learning is a perceived threat. Learning makes people nervous. It's unknown, it's unfamiliar. And then little nervous systems need to be taught how to respond to what's unfamiliar and uncomfortable and unsafe. And we can't take that unfamiliar, unsafe, and fear-inducing experiences away from students, or they won't learn anything. So teachers need to understand how the nervous system works, their own nervous system. They need to know how their brain-body systems work. And the more they know that, then they can help to teach this to their students. Parents need to know it as well about themselves. It's the same thing parenting. Parents are just teachers too. But this is the teaching and learning process. This is different from someone who says, I'm a teacher, I teach history, or I teach English or math. No, you don't. You don't teach curriculum. You teach people. This is the biggest issue I have having left education. I taught human beings. I was a yoga teacher. I understood my nervous system and what it took to be regulated. And I better understood my students and how their bodies were responding to the energy and the perceived threats in the room and the perceived discomfort that came with learning. And I knew how to regulate myself, my own system, and then I could co-regulate with students, teaching them this is how we respond to challenge and stress and the unknown and the unfamiliar. That is learning. That is the learning process. It's difficult. It's threatening. You get offended. You get hurt. Okay? You don't die and you don't get physically beaten, but your system senses levels of safety or threat. And you have to learn how to dance in that area. And you need to know what your capacities are and your inner resources are and the external resources that you can use to self-regulate. Some kids aren't taught how to regulate because they didn't have parents who knew how to do it for themselves, or they didn't know how to do it for their children. So these children end up a bit more maybe traumatized, super fearful. Their window of tolerance for managing fear and threat and a visceral sense of safety is very narrow. We need to widen it, and we have to do it for ourselves first before we can recognize it in our students and then help them with that. Is this social work and mental health, and you think, oh, you're a teacher, you shouldn't have to do that? I teach academics, I teach subject matter. Well, I think it behooves you to learn about it. Not only is it going to make you healthier and have a better life, personal life, you'll have a better professional life, you'll be more effective in the classroom, and this is a human-to-human endeavor. Teachers are working with people. And we need more humanity, not less. We don't need information to be put into a brain and that's that, and we go home and we collect our paycheck. We need to teach mind-body to mind-body, embodied learning. And I'm going to bring you all the resources that I can get my hands on and guide you to them to show you how that everything I just said is accurate and true, and the implications it has for classroom teaching and learning. This is revolutionary. I think every teacher and parent needs to know what's happening in the world of mind-body health. It is powerful social justice to understand and be able to recognize who you are as a mind-body system. Compassionately, there's a whole process to doing that. There needs to be compassion. There needs to be, you can let go of shame and think, oh, like, what's wrong with me? Why did I behave in that way? Well, maybe some nervous system dysregulation alleviates a lot of shame, alleviates a lot of self-criticism and self-blame for going to certain coping skills that aren't helpful, addiction, compulsive behavior, all kinds of stuff that really, if you know what's going on, you can choose better. And that takes practice in mindfulness. It takes practice in nervous system regulation. So that's what I hope, that mind-body health. I want to bring that to teachers to improve teaching and learning. And we need it now more than ever, especially in light of the way that education has been moving to teaching ideologies and teaching content and policies for behavior rather than teaching understanding human behavior and working with the mind-body system, not against it. Because reinforcing rules and policies and what you can't say and what you can say, and not allowing a trial and error process of learning, which is a scary, somewhat dysregulating process to occur, we're just going to become more polarized. We're going to be more threatened by each other. Teachers are going to feel stuck because they are limited in what they can say and what they can't say. And that's a lack of freedom. That's a lack of freedom. And it's not just a free speech issue. It's a nervous system, mind-body health issue. It's going to make us worse, not better. It's going to cause more anxiety, thus more depression, thus more trauma than ever. We are going in the wrong direction with the woke policies and these these rules to follow that are meant to alleviate oppression, but are really oppressive and intolerant in themselves. We need to work on learning how to train the nervous system to widen its window of tolerance. And that's an embodied process. That is the process of learning. And it subsumes the intellectual process of learning and the academic and intellectual piece of learning. The brain, left brain, language-based, talk-based learning. And just on a final note, speaking of talk learning, talk therapy has always been the way that therapy's been done, counseling. You go to the therapist, you sit down, you have a conversation, and that is therapeutic. But what's therapeutic about it is being in the same room as another body, nervous system to nervous system, language and interacting through social engagement, through speech, the tone of your voice, your eye movement, your prosody, all of the things involved with speaking and looking at another person are embodied. Also, now, talk therapy has been typically called a top-down therapy. We in the health community, mental health community, now know through all the trauma studies, and Bessel van der Kolk has a great book, The Body That Keeps the Score, that was sort of watershed, and interpersonal neurobiology, people like Alan Shore, and sensory motor psychotherapy by Pat Ogden, all of these wonderful people who study trauma and attachment and interpersonal neurobiology show that learning is deeply embodied, and the therapeutic process has to be about your body. It's got to be about the mind-body connection for wholeness. We can't just talk about our problems to solve them. We can't just talk at our students to teach them. We have to be connected more intimately as a mind-body system to mind-body system. So I hope, as a former teacher, currently a behavioral health counselor, clinician, and coach, that I can come into your school and teach your teachers and your parents all about this. I think it's revolutionary, and I think it's so important, especially now. And I know my fellow colleagues are finding themselves in a bind, and they're feeling stuck. And the worst thing a nervous system can feel is stuck and unable to express and stressed. That's just asking for more trauma and chronic responses in the body that will be not very helpful to teachers' bodies and their health. So I wanted to come in and talk about this. I think this information is just essential. There's nothing more important, in my opinion, right now to help teachers and to help our students and parents. More light, more enlightenment, more information, more learning, less fear and ignorance, less polarity. That's what I'm after. And healthy development, of course. I want people to live the best lives possible. So hopefully you will get in touch with me at landscapesforlearning.com. I'll come to your school. We'll together collaborate and make the most useful and specific program to your school and your school culture and its needs. All right, I look forward to hearing from you. Take care.